I told my brother to stop faking his injury at Thanksgiving, so I pushed his wheelchair to prove it. I didn't know his doctor was standing right behind me, recording everything. Alright. Reddit, let me just start by saying, I'm honestly exhausted from being the only person in my family who hasn't completely lost their minds. For context, I'm the oldest, and for some reason that means everyone expects me to just nod along with whatever dramatic story gets tossed around. Eli's my brother, always been the sensitive one who can't handle stress without turning it into a whole production. So when he fell at work a couple months ago and suddenly ended up in a wheelchair, I honestly thought he was joking at first. Then I realized he wasn't joking, he was committing to the bit. The way he explained it made no sense. One day he's walking around just fine, the next he's rolling into family dinner acting like he's 2 seconds from collapsing. I tried asking normal questions like what exactly happened or why he needed the chair out of nowhere, but he always had these long, vague explanations that sounded rehearsed, and everyone ate it up like it was the most tragic thing they'd ever heard. Meanwhile, I'm the bad guy for pointing out how weird it all looked. The thing that really pushed me was how fast my parents jumped to rearrange everything for him. New chairs, different seating plans, wider spaces, special dishes, extra breaks. Thanksgiving basically became Eli's special needs day, and everyone was fine with it except me. I'm sorry, but when someone suddenly needs all these accommodations without a clear reason, I'm allowed to question it. And yes, I saw him walking, not full-on running a marathon or anything, but enough to make me say, hold on. I caught him going down the hallway at a family gathering last month. No chair, no limp, nothing. He stopped the second he noticed me and acted like I didn't see anything. That was the moment I knew for a fact he was milking this. So by the time Thanksgiving rolled around, I was already irritated. I had been dealing with this fake performance for weeks, and honestly, the whole atmosphere of the day was miserable. Everyone was tiptoeing around him, acting like breathing too close to him would cause permanent damage. And the worst part was how he acted like this was all happening to him, like he was some tragic hero we were lucky to be in the presence of. From the moment I walked in, I could tell he was leaning into it even harder. He made these exaggerated movements with his hands, like he was struggling just to adjust himself in the chair. He kept grimacing at random moments for no obvious reason, and anytime someone asked him a normal question, he would sigh dramatically first, like even speaking was a burden. It was honestly unbelievable. Midway through dinner, when Eli was being praised again for being strong, I just snapped. I don't know if it was the wine or the tension or the way everyone was letting him control the whole atmosphere, but I hit my limit. I kept thinking about how he acted perfectly normal when he didn't know I was watching, and the more I thought about it, the more angry I got that he was letting everyone cater to him like this. So I did what I thought needed to be done. I walked behind his chair and told everyone I was tired of the act. I said we were ending the pity show and that he could stop pretending now. Before anyone could say or do anything, I grabbed the handles and pushed him forward a few feet. I genuinely expected him to stand up, maybe stumble a little, and then everyone would finally see what I'd been saying all along. But that's not what happened. He fell straight out of the chair, landed hard, knocked into the table. Food went everywhere. A bunch of relatives started yelling at once. People rushed toward him. My mom screamed like the world was ending. It was chaos instantly. And I swear to you, the second he hit the ground, he suddenly acted like he couldn't move at all. Not even his arms. Just limp. I honestly still don't buy it. It looked like another dramatic shift to make me look insane. Everyone kept telling me I'd hurt him, but I didn't shove his chair. I pushed it forward, gently even, expecting him to stand. I turn around, and it's his doctor. I didn't even know he was invited. I didn't even know he was part of the family friend circle now. And he was holding his phone up like he had been recording the whole thing. Not just the push, the whole argument leading up to it. Apparently Eli has been updating him constantly about his condition, and this guy just shows up to Thanksgiving like it's normal. Everyone suddenly acts like it's perfectly fine he's there. Meanwhile, I'm the one being yelled at like I committed a crime. The doctor starts lecturing me about nerve damage and spinal issues and how Eli's condition is actually worsening. He acted like I've been purposely tormenting him, like I was some villain who plotted this. My whole family turned on me instantly. No one even tried to hear me out. They kicked me out of the house before dessert was served, and now everyone's blowing up my phone saying I need to apologize. Apologize for what? For not buying into an obvious exaggeration? For being the one person willing to say what everyone else was too scared to? Nobody wants to admit he's milking this, because then they'd have to admit they've been enabling him. Update 1. Alright Reddit, here we go again. I didn't expect to be back this soon, but the last 48 hours have been ridiculous. I posted thinking people would at least try to see where I was coming from, but apparently everyone is acting like I committed some unspeakable crime instead of just calling out obvious nonsense. My family has completely lost it, and somehow I'm the one getting punished for trying to keep things honest. First off, yes, my parents actually banned me from their house. They said they need space, and that I'm a danger to Eli. I can't even begin to explain how dramatic that sounds. A danger? Really? I pushed a wheelchair that shouldn't have even been needed in the first place, but they're all acting like I threw him down a staircase. They didn't even hear me out. They didn't ask why I felt the need to expose him or how long I've watched him milk this whole injury thing. They just jumped straight to calling me reckless and telling me to leave. And fine. Whatever. I left. I'm not going to beg to be around people who are determined to believe the worst about me, but I'm not going to pretend I'm not annoyed that everyone's bending over backwards about this like Eli is some fragile saint. He's been soaking up the attention. My mom's bringing meals to his house, my dad's fixing up his porch, and every relative who wasn't there for Thanksgiving is apparently lining up to send him sympathy messages. Then yesterday, I got a text from Eli's doctor. The same doctor who recorded me without saying anything. He told me to meet him at his clinic because there were things I needed to see. Honestly, I thought he wanted to apologize or explain himself. I didn't think a medical professional would insert himself in family drama like this. But no. The whole thing felt like some staged intervention where everyone assumes I'm the problem. I went anyway because I'm not scared of hearing so-called facts. If anything, I figured I could finally get him to admit that half of this diagnosis stuff is based on Eli's complaints, not anything actually visible or measurable. But the meeting was a complete waste of time. He sat me down and pulled out a stack of papers that he clearly thought would shut me up. He went through scans, test results, nerve studies, all of it. He acted like he was presenting evidence in a courtroom. He kept pointing to little diagrams and charts like I'm supposed to suddenly believe everything just because he printed it on nice paper. I'm not stupid. I know when someone is putting on a performance to make themselves look credible. He talked about progressive damage and loss of function and neurological decline. The whole thing felt rehearsed. I've seen people fake worse injuries than this. I even told him it looked like something you hand to insurance companies just to get them off your back. He didn't like that. His whole professional smile dropped, and he started going on about how I don't understand the severity. Yeah, I get it. He's protective of his patient, but that doesn't mean Eli isn't exaggerating half of this for sympathy. And that's when the real twist came out. Apparently, he didn't just record the push. He recorded the whole lead-up. He had audio of everything I said before I even touched the wheelchair. I don't remember half of what I said because I was frustrated and tired of the whole situation, but he sure played it back like he was unveiling some big crime. And of course, Eli's wife heard it, and she's now talking about filing charges. I swear, none of these people understand context. I wasn't threatening anyone. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I was commenting on the fact that everyone was treating him like he was 1 second away from death and refusing to even question whether he might be exaggerating. But the second she heard that recording, she lost it. She's been posting vague things on Facebook about protecting her family and people showing their true colors. And now I'm hearing through my cousins that she's actually serious about going to the police. Over this. Over me pushing a wheelchair that shouldn't have been necessary. And if that wasn't enough, my girlfriend broke up with me last night. She saw the video because Eli's wife sent it to her. She didn't even ask for my side. She just said she couldn't be with someone who acts like that. It's ridiculous. She's known me for 2 years and she threw it all away over a clip that doesn't even show the whole story. Everyone is acting like I committed some unforgivable act. Meanwhile, Eli is getting more sympathy than he's ever had in his life. He doesn't even have to pretend to be humble about it. Update 2. Alright, so apparently the extended family has decided they're all on the same emotional support committee for my brother now, because I just found out they held a whole holiday thing this weekend without me. And I don't mean a small gathering either. I'm talking about a full family event with catered trays, decorations, photos, the works, and I only found out because my cousin accidentally sent a picture into the wrong group chat. Everyone was there. Everyone. Even people who live out of state who never come to anything. I wasn't even given some half-assed excuse. No message, no heads up, just blocked out of the entire thing like I'm some unstable neighbor they don't want on the street. Half of them watched me grow up, but apparently one wheelchair incident suddenly wipes out decades of family history. I decided I wasn't just going to sit at home while they all acted like I'm radioactive, so I drove over. I figured I'd walk in, clear the air, and force the actual truth back into the room because clearly, everyone has decided to swallow Eli's dramatic version of reality without even checking if it makes sense. When I got there, the entire vibe was ridiculous. People were whispering before I even made it through the door. It felt like walking into a room full of people who had rehearsed being offended. The silence was the worst part. No one even tried to pretend they were happy to see me. They just stared like I'd crashed a funeral. My uncle was the first one to say anything, and he basically treated me like some unstable person who needed to be handled carefully. That alone almost set me off. These are people who used to laugh when I messed with my siblings as kids, but now suddenly they're acting like I launched my brother off a cliff. I tried explaining that the entire family has been enabling this injury thing for months and that someone had to finally say it out loud. I pointed out all the inconsistencies they keep ignoring and the way everyone caters to every discomfort Eli mentions. They didn't want to hear any of it. I could practically see them shutting down the moment I started. A few of them even rolled their eyes, like I'm the one being dramatic. Apparently, the new family narrative is that I traumatized Eli. They're acting like he's some fragile porcelain doll who can't handle being challenged. It got even more ridiculous when his wife walked in holding a stack of papers like she was presenting evidence at a court hearing. I knew instantly that whatever she brought was specifically aimed at embarrassing me. Turns out it was a restraining order request. For me, against my own brother. I actually couldn't help laughing when she handed it over. They're all so worked up that they're literally filing legal paperwork to keep me away from him, like I'm stalking him or something. The dramatic flair of it made the whole thing even more absurd. She tried acting like she was taking a moral stand. Meanwhile, she's been spoon-feeding him attention since this whole wheelchair situation started. She's the one who helped turn a minor injury into a whole personality. The room kept getting more tense, and I could feel everyone waiting to see what I'd do next, like they expected some meltdown. I wasn't going to give them that. I laid out my side again, calmly, but it didn't matter. They've all clearly decided that Eli is some brave little soldier fighting through pain while I'm the monster who dared to question it. It didn't take long before someone basically told me to leave. Not politely either. They genuinely wanted me off the property. Getting kicked out by my parents was one thing, but getting kicked out by the entire extended family was a different level of insulting. These are people who used to come to me with their own family drama. Now suddenly, I'm the risk factor that needs to be managed. Update 3. Alright, I honestly didn't even plan to come back here this soon, but things have taken a turn I didn't expect, and at this point I'm convinced the entire family wants to make me the villain of the century. I thought getting kicked out of a holiday party was bad enough, but apparently that was just everyone warming up. So today I got a letter in the mail. Not an email, not a text. A full-on envelope like something you get when you forget to pay a bill for 3 months. I open it up, and sure enough, it's from some lawyer Eli hired. I didn't even know he had the energy to do all this since he's so injured. But I guess being dramatic gives him superpowers. The letter basically says he's pressing charges for assault. Actual charges, over something that wouldn't have happened if he wasn't dragging this injury storyline out like a soap opera. And now everyone's acting like I intentionally tried to kill him. I swear, nobody in this family understands how intent works. If I wanted to hurt him, I would have done it years ago when he was actually annoying instead of whatever pity project version he's become. Anyway, after staring at the letter long enough to get a headache, I decided to go over to Eli's house. Not to fight, not to scream. I honestly wanted to clear the air before this got any worse. I figured if I talked to him directly, he'd realize he's taking this too far. Or at least we could make some kind of plan so neither of us has to deal with courts or lawyers or whatever circus he's starting. Well, apparently they've decided I'm not allowed to show up unannounced anymore. I knocked, waited a second, and suddenly his wife was at the door with her phone already up like she was expecting me. She didn't even try to hide it, just held it there while staring at me like I had rabies. I tried explaining why I came over, and she kept recording everything. I wasn't yelling or anything, but she kept telling me I was escalating. She's gotten really comfortable acting like she's the hero of all this. Then Eli came out in his chair, looking exhausted and acting like me standing on his porch was traumatizing. I talked to him calmly, tried to get him to see that this is getting ridiculous, but he just sat there shaking his head like he was some disappointed parent. The whole thing was a joke. I didn't come there to fight, but every time I tried to talk, his wife kept reminding me I wasn't supposed to be there and that they were documenting for legal purposes. I'm sorry, but what legal purposes? Acting like I'm some danger to him? If anything, they're the ones turning this into something ugly. I'll admit I got frustrated. I reminded them that I know plenty about this family that wouldn't look good if other people heard it. Not threats, just reminders. Apparently even saying that is now intimidation because his wife gasped like I admitted to a crime. She eventually told me to leave or she'd call the cops. I'm not dealing with that, so I went home. But not even half an hour later, I get a text from my cousin telling me that Eli's doctor has handed over more videos and notes. Not just the Thanksgiving recording, apparently he's been filming other stuff too. Things like Eli trying to stand and collapsing, or him needing help getting out of bed. I guess the doctor thinks dumping every dramatic clip he has is evidence. Honestly, I don't know when everyone decided to turn our lives into a documentary, but it feels like everyone is rooting for the worst possible version of events. Final update. Well, here we are. The part everyone kept telling me I was bound to reach eventually. Like this whole situation was some predictable road I laid for myself on purpose. If you've been following along since Thanksgiving, you already know most of the mess, but this is where everything landed. And honestly, after the last few weeks, I don't even recognize half the people I used to call family. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not pretending this went better than it did. I'm just laying it out the way it happened, because no matter what anyone thinks of me, I'm not going to sit quietly while everyone else rewrites the story to make themselves look saintly. That's basically the theme of my life lately. Everyone gets to cry and play the victim, except me. So let's start with the legal part, because that's what everyone keeps texting me about, like I didn't live through it myself. After Eli filed charges, I kept telling myself there was no way a judge would take it seriously, because in my mind, the whole thing was blown so far out of proportion, it was barely recognizable. I didn't hurt him on purpose. I didn't wake up that morning planning to push him or embarrass him. I wasn't trying to cause damage. All I wanted was for everyone to stop pretending he was some helpless, delicate thing when we all knew he loved being catered to. But that didn't matter. None of that mattered once the doctor handed over his files and those videos. And let me tell you, seeing myself on those videos was weird. Everyone kept acting like it was some big damning moment, but all I saw was me doing what the rest of them were too scared to do. They let him limp around the house and moan and act like any movement might kill him. I'm the only one who actually tried to get to the truth, even if it didn't look good on camera. Of course, the court didn't care about my perspective. The judge looked like he had already made up his mind before I even walked in. My lawyer told me straight up that fighting it would drag out for months and probably end worse. So I took the deal. Community service, a fine, mandatory anger management, and a restraining order that makes me look like some raging threat when all I did was nudge a wheelchair. According to everyone else, it wasn't a nudge, but I know how it felt. I was there. Funny how that part magically doesn't matter anymore. The restraining order was the part that really hit me. I can't be within a certain distance of Eli for a long time. When I saw the terms, my parents acted like I deserved it, like they'd been waiting for someone outside the family to finally handle me. My mom didn't even look at me while we were leaving the courthouse. My dad barely said a word. It wasn't anger exactly. It was more like disappointment mixed with relief, which somehow felt worse. They've always babied Eli, but I never thought they'd shift into full-on silent treatment mode with me, especially over something they know I didn't mean to go that far.